All right, our third game this week, 2-1 Northern Illinois. One of the wins, a big win on the road at Notre Dame. They are at 2-2 NC State. Wolfpack off that big loss at Clemson on Saturday. This is a noon game from Carter Finley on the CW. NC State a 7-point home favorite this week.
Yeah, this one has several compelling angles to me. One, Wolfpack coach Dave Doran has been a head coach at only two places, and now those two schools are playing each other head-to-head for just the second time in history. Coach Doran, it's easy to forget, went 11-3 and 12-1 in his two seasons as the head coach at Northern Illinois. That was back in 2011 and 2012. He won the Mid-American Conference Championship both of those years, and that is what caught the attention of then athletic director at NC State, Debbie Yao, more than a decade ago when she hired Doran to be Tom O'Brien's successor in Raleigh. Number two, this year's Northern Illinois team, remember, beat number 5 Notre Dame 16-14 in South Bend. That was less than 3 weeks ago. And it was actually ranked, Northern Illinois, in the national top 25 temporarily before being upset in overtime at home last week by Buffalo, another MAC team. Number 3, after pretty high preseason expectations, this year's Wolfpack has played 4 games this season and has not looked great in any of the 4. The Pack was embarrassed 51-10 by Tennessee and Charlotte and annihilated 59-35 last week at Clemson. Now remember, the Tigers led that game 45-7 at halftime at Death Valley. And that halftime score to me was a much better reflection of reality than the much closer final score, which came only after Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney called off the Dogs. Even during its close wins over Western Carolina and Louisiana Tech, the Pack did not look all that special. And, of course, they lost their starting quarterback, Grayson McCall, the Coastal Carolina transfer, to an injury along the way. The true freshman quarterback, C.J. Bailey, survived what you and I described as the evil genius challenge 1 week ago. Although he turned it over twice, he was sacked twice, and to be fair, his better numbers did come against the Clemson backups after the game had been decided. Lastly, the most surprising aspect of NC State's season to me so far has been that the Wolfpack just hasn't been very good in the trenches to this point. That's where Dave Doran's teams have been the most consistent over this past decade plus. And right now, neither the Pack offensive line nor the Pack's defensive front 6 or 7 has been much of a bright spot. What was my number one reason not to put the Pack among the ACC's true contenders back in August? The departure of linebacker Peyton Wilson, one of the best players in NC State football history. Now, maybe Davin Vann or Fred Cleveland up front, maybe Caden Fordham or Sean Brown at linebacker. Those guys are promising talents in some cases, really proven players in others. Those guys or others need to make big plays on defense against a Northern Illinois team that has not been great on offense. They're a good defensive squad, but maybe the Wolfpack can create turnovers, create big plays, change field position, just take some pressure off a Wolfpack offense that has not been able to find itself so far this season. And that offense at State will be facing a Northern Illinois defense that drove Notre Dame crazy and has actually looked good through all 3 of its games so far.